Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my free Grant Education Friday. I am Crystal Petry, grant writer and grant strategist. I've spent over 15 years securing funding across federal, state, and even local and private foundations, and helping organizations position themselves competitively for grants. Last week, we talked about why most grants get rejected before they are even reviewed. This week, we're going deeper. We're talking about how funders actually think. Because if you don't understand their mindset and how they think, you will continue to write proposals that miss the mark. If you have questions, drop them in the comment box below and I will answer them as we are live today. So, for today, this is what we're going to discuss, and these are the topics that I will be teaching you and you will be learning about. Today, we're going to cover what funders are really looking for, why emotion and passion alone doesn't win funding, and how to position your proposal for confidence and clarity. Again, let's go over those topics again. What we're going to cover today: what funders are really looking for, why emotion and passion alone does not win funding, and how to position your proposal for confidence and clarity. Let's get into it. Funders fund outcomes. Let me say that again. Funders fund outcomes. They do not fund effort. They do not fund energy. They do not fund passion. They do not fund excitement. They fund outcomes. Many organizations write proposals that say, "We want to help." Really, who doesn't? They write, "We care about our community." Most people do. "We are passionate about this issue." Good for you. That's important. All of those things are important. And I am not making light of it. The fact that you want to help, the fact that you care about your community, the fact that you are passionate about a specific issue or topic, all of those are great. All of those are important. But when you are writing grants, it is not enough. Funders are asking, what will change because of this funding? If I give you $100,000, what's going to change? How many people will be impacted? How many people will be helped? If I give you $100,000, how many people are you going to help with $100,000? What measurable results will come from this programming? These are specific questions that funders are thinking about and specific questions that they want answered. Now, strong positioning sounds like, "We will serve 150 individuals over 12 months." See how specific that is? 150 individuals over 12 months. That's what funders want to hear. Strong positioning when you're writing grants sounds like, "We will increase graduation rates by 20%. See how specific that is? Increasing graduation rates by 20%. Funders want specifics. "We will reduce food insecurity in this region by 15%. Funders want data. Funders want specifics. They want to be able to look at your grant proposal and see what their funding, what their money is going to do. That is outcomes-based thinking. When you are writing a grant, you must think like funders think. And funders think in outcome-based thinking. What are the numbers? What is the specific data? That is what they want to know. If your proposal does not clearly answer what will happen as a result of this funding, you are leaving doubt in the funder's decision. You are leaving insecurity. You are leaving confusion. And when you are writing your grant proposal, you do not want to leave any doubt with the funders. You do not want to leave confusion with the funders. They want outcome-based thinking. You need to provide them with outcome-based thinking when you are writing your grant proposals. You do not want to leave any doubt in the funder's mind about exactly what it is you are going to do, what you are going to accomplish, how you are going to accomplish it, and how you will use their money to accomplish that. Let's talk about risk reduction mindset. Every grant decision comes down to one thing: risk. Funders are not just asking, is this a good cause? Most likely it is a good cause. They are not asking, what will you do with this funding? You have to be able to tell them in your grant proposal exactly what you are doing with this funding. What they are asking is this a safe investment? Because when funders are giving money, it is an investment for them. Is the investment safe? Is the investment clear and understandable? Is the investment outcome-based? If you are not asking, if you are not answering any of those questions, most likely your proposal will not be selected. Because at the end of the day, they are accountable for where their money goes. Just think about it from your end. If you are buying a car, buying a house, buying a cell phone, you want the people that you are talking to be knowledgeable. You want them to be confident. You want them to be clear. You want them to be able to answer your questions. And if they cannot do that, if they are not confident, if they are not clear, if they are not answering your questions, really, are you going to purchase a house from someone like that? Are you going to purchase a car from someone like that? Or even a cell phone from someone like that? Most likely, the answer is no. So, what feels risky to a funder? I'm glad you asked. Unclear outcomes. You don't know how many people you're going to help. You don't know how many people are going to graduate. You don't know how many people you are going to feed in a food desert. Weak data. That goes back to the first one, unclear outcomes. Weak data, outdated data, old data. That data has not been relevant for 10, 15, 20 years, and you are still using it. New organizations with no track record. Now, there are funders who will fund startup organizations, who will fund nonprofits who just got started. But you have to have to be very specific and look for those funders. Other funders are not looking for new organizations with no track record. They want an organization that has been doing the work and has the numbers and the data to prove that they have been doing the work and the work has been successful. Vague budgets. What are you doing with the money? What are you going to do with the money if a funder gives that to you? You have to be very specific on what you're going to do with the funding down to the dollar. They want to know, are you going to hire someone? How many people? Is this going to be a full-time person, a part-time person, a contract person? Do you need office space? How big is that office space? Or are you going to have this office space for 1 year or 6 months? They want to know everything. Over promising with no proof. You are saying you are going to do all of these amazing things for your community, for this issue, yet you have no proof that you're going to do it. You have no people that are going to help you. How can a funder trust a proposal like that? You have to think like the funder thinks. If your grant proposal has unclear outcomes, weak data, new organizations with no track record of success, vague budgets, overpromising with no proof, most likely they are not going to fund your organization. Now, what reduces risk? I'm glad that you did ask. Clear structure, explaining exactly what you're going to do, where are you going to do it, what city, what state, what town are you going to do this? Being very specific, strong current data. If you have strong current data, funders love that. It is numbers that they can see, numbers that they can understand. Past success or pilot results. You've been doing this work for a year, for 2 years, for 10 years, and you have successful results. You have this many people that have graduated high school. You have reduced food insecurity in your community, and you have the data, you have the numbers to back that up. Organized documentation. I cannot stress this enough. You must have all of your documentation organized. You need to have proper dates, proper signatures, proper information, proper upkeep. Where is your documents being kept? Is it safe? Is it locked? Who has the availability to these documents? So important whenever you are applying for funding. Your job in a grant is to remove doubt. And I would also say answer questions that the funder does not know that they have. You want the funder to think this makes sense. Your proposal makes sense. Your organization and what you are doing makes sense. The data makes sense. This is clear. This is doable. This is understandable. Confidence gets funded. Confusion gets rejected. Let me say that one more time. Confidence gets funded. Confusion gets rejected. Let's talk about clarity over passion. I speak with so many people who have amazing organizations. And I work with nonprofit, I work with for-profit, I work with entrepreneurs. They are so passionate, they are so energetic, and it is amazing to see, it is amazing to hear. But passion will not get you funded. Clarity, confidence will get you funded. Passion is where most organizations, whether you are a new organization or an established organization, that's where you lose the funding. They rely heavy on passion. And again, there is nothing wrong with being passionate about your organization, passionate about your community, passionate about a particular topic. There is nothing wrong with that. But passion does not get you funded. And people rely too much and too heavy on passion. Again, passion matters, but passion without clarity creates confusion. And remember what I discussed earlier, confusion gets rejected. That will not get you funded when you are writing for a grant. Here is an example of some passion-heavy language. We are deeply committed to transforming lives in our community. Deeply committed to transforming lives in their community. So passionate, but not clear, not concise. It sounds good, right? But it doesn't tell the funder anything. There's no data, there's no measurables, there's no clarity, there's no specifics. They don't know what it is you're doing, why you are doing it, who's going to benefit from it. Clarity sounds like this. Our program will serve 75 families over 6 months, providing weekly access to fresh food and nutrition education. You hear the difference? You hear how clear that is, how concise that is, how specific that is, how fundable that is. Let me say that again. Here is passion-heavy language. We are deeply committed to transforming lives in our community. How are you going to do that? How many people are you going to help? How often are you going to help? What specifically are you going to do to help? Confusion. Clarity sounds like this. Our program will serve 75 families over 6 months. Specifics, clarity, providing weekly access to fresh food and nutrition education. Very specific. You have measurables, outcomes in that language. Clear, specific, and more importantly, fundable. So here's the truth. Funders assume that you are passionate. Otherwise, why would you be writing for a grant? They assume you are excited. Otherwise, why would you be writing for a grant? They assume that you are energetic. Otherwise, why would you be writing for a grant? What these funders need is clarity. Clarity builds trust, and trust leads to funding. That's a formula for you. Write that down. Write that down. That is a winning formula for you to win grants. Clarity builds trust. Trust leads to funding. Let's talk about a couple examples of people that have written grants, organizations that have written grants. 2 proposals were submitted for the same funding opportunity. Both organizations are doing meaningful work, amazing, passionate work. First proposal, very emotional, strong storytelling, lots of passion, but limited data and out and unclear outcomes. Proposal number 2, clear matrix, defined outcomes, strong structure, less emotional, but very precise. The result, I'm sure by now you have guessed it. Proposal 2 receives the funding, but not because they cared more or less, but because they made it easier for the funder to say yes. Let me put a pin in that real quick. Funders want to fund your projects. They want to give this money away. Why else did they put out a statement or a request for a proposal, an RFP? Because they want to give the money away. They want to help the community. They want to help the states. They want to help the schools. They want to do this. That's the easy part. The other side of that is you have to get them to say yes. And how do you get funders to say yes? By thinking like they think. Funders are not choosing who is the most passionate. Funders are not choosing who is the most energetic. Funders are not choosing who is the most excited. They are choosing who is most clear, structured, and aligned. That person, that organization will be funded. I have a couple questions I want to ask you. And I really, really want you to think about this. What risk are you asking a funder to take by investing in your organization, by investing in your idea? What risk are they taking on? Where are you clearly proving your outcomes? Where is the data? Where is the measurables? Where is the outcome-based thinking? Are you relying more on passion or on structure? And I will be honest with you, a lot of organizations that I work with as a grant writer and a grant strategist, they are so passionate, and that's amazing. But when I come in, I turn that passion into structure. I turn that passion into outcome-based thinking. I turn that passion into clarity. Again, let me go over these questions one more time. Questions that you need to be asking yourself when you are applying for a grant. What risk are you asking the funder to take on you and your organization? Are you clearly proving your outcomes? Are you relying more on passion or structure? These are the questions that shift your proposal from average to competitive and from competitive to fundable. If this is helping you, then if this is helping you, if this is helping you see grants differently, that's the goal. If this is helping you understand grants more clearly, that's the goal. If this is helping you understand how funders think, that is the goal. This is why I decided to give free grant education every Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I want you to understand how funders think. I want your proposal to be funded and not rejected. Because once you understand how funders think, everything about your approach changes. Once you understand that funders are looking for strong data, that funders are looking for clarity, that funders are looking for proposals that leave no doubt, that funders want to say yes to your proposal, that is everything. And it changes your approach and it changes your writing when you are applying for these grants. Now, if you are ready to go deeper in learning how funders think, if you are ready to go deeper in understanding why your proposal gets rejected before it gets reviewed, not just understanding this, but applying this and making your proposals competitive, making your proposals fundable. On May the 7th, I am hosting a virtual grant writing boot camp. Here is all that information. This is where I will walk through a grant step by step with you. Bring a grant that you are working on. Or even if you don't have a grant, I am going to walk through how to write a competitive grant for you step by step from beginning to the end. So by the time the workshop is over, if you have a grant, it is about 85% complete. If you don't have a grant, you are ready and you are confident to write a competitive grant. Again, on May 7th, I am hosting a virtual grant writing boot camp. We're taking everything we're talking about in these sessions and putting it into structure just for you. You can go to my website right now, CAPETRYLLC.com, and register for the May 7th Grant Writing Bootcamp. Funding Success Blueprint. Plan, write, and win grants like a pro. And don't forget to follow me on YouTube, follow me on Crystal Petry Consulting on Facebook, and we can continue the conversation there. We can continue the education there. See you next Friday for more free grant education training.